Welcome to Illuminati Silver. We tell you the truth about silver. Today is Monday the 18th of June 2018 and we're discussing the prospects for copper and to assess whether it presents an investment opportunity or not. Copper prices had a rocky start to the year, declining more than 6% in the first 3 months of 2018. Increasing geopolitical concerns, rising warehouse inventories, and a weaker Chinese demand put pressure on prices. Despite this, some analysts remain cautiously optimistic about its future and expect prices to pick up in the next few months. Well, before we examine the prospects, let's just take a brief look at its more recent and not so recent history. Well, firstly, we ask the question, what is copper? Copper is the 29th element on the periodic table and is a transition metal. It has an atomic number of 29 and an atomic weight of 63.55 AMU, or atomic mass units. This shiny, soft and highly malleable metal has a number of uses and has also been recognized as important to one's physical health. According to the Royal Society of Chemistry, copper, which means from the island of Cyprus, received its name based on the large amount of copper the Roman Empire acquired from Cyprus. While the Roman Empire is most famously known for using copper in cookware and coinage, the Dartmouth Toxic Metals Superfund research program states that the ancient Sumerians and Chaldeans are believed to be some of the first people to make wide use of copper. Their work introduced copper mining into ancient Egyptian society, where copper was used for everything from tools to mirrors. Due to its soft nature, it is most often used as an alloy, which is a material comprised of a metal and a non-metal, or two metals. Alloys are typically stronger than single metal materials. Two common copper alloys are bronze and brass. Bronze is a mixture of copper and tin, while brass is a mixture of copper and zinc, and most popularly used in instruments including brass instruments. Copper is also an excellent conductor of electricity, which is why it is often used in electrical wiring. Copper is also known as a coinage metal. Its popularity was based upon its resistance to corrosion from air and water. According to the United States Mint, the penny was made from copper or copper alloy up until 1982. Since then, pennies have been made from 97.5% zinc and plated with copper due to its high cost. Outside of coins, instruments and jewellery, copper is also used to make water pipes and fungicides. Biologically, copper aids in the formation of red blood cells, promotes healthy connective tissues and supports the immune system. It is also an important component of many proteins and enzymes in the human body. An enzyme is a biological molecule that helps to speed up chemical reactions in the body. It can also be called a biological catalyst. In its purest form, copper is relatively soft and is malleable and ductile, meaning that it can be shaped or molded without breaking. For example, hammered flat into sheets or drawn out into wires. Copper is resistant to corrosion and is a good conductor of heat and electricity, second only to silver. Because it is an element, copper can be perpetually recycled without losing its properties. Copper deposits were formed by the action of hot waters, commonly associated with volcanism, but also with sediments, and can be found around the world on every continent. Copper can be found in the Earth's crust as pure native copper, but mostly occurs in combination with other elements. Considered more of a tertiary commodity in comparison to the shinier appeal of gold and silver, copper is often the third choice for metal investors during uncertain economic periods. Today, copper is the third most used metal in the world and plays a pivotal role in all major economies and in the developing world. We'll now proceed to some basic copper facts for investors looking to get into the market. Construction is the largest application for copper worldwide. It is estimated that 40% of all copper is used by the construction industry. A home can contain on average 439 pounds of copper in wiring, pipes and appliances, while a car can contain 50 pounds of copper in its motor, connectors and brakes. Because homes are so reliant on the semi-precious metal, copper prices are tied to the health of housing markets. The second largest market for copper is the electrical and electronics space due to the metal's excellent conductivity. This arena now includes electric vehicles. In terms of volume, Asia has dominated copper consumption for years. Estimates suggest nearly 60% of all copper is used in this region. Today, China is still responsible for over 40% of global copper demand, with the US and EU following as the next most prominent buyers of the metal. With an expanding urban population, India is also worth noting as a major copper consumer. Chile is the world's largest copper producer, producing more than double the amount of the next highest producer, Peru. So let's now take a look at how the copper price is derived. The copper price is set by the free market. Producers, suppliers and customers balance extraction, production and distribution costs with demand. Two common exchanges where copper is traded are the London Metal Exchange and the COMEX. Copper is heavily consumed, but it is also heavily traded, which can lead to price volatility as large orders come in and out of the market. As with many commodities, copper is also traded on the futures market, which gives investors and consumers the opportunity to hedge against price changes. Notwithstanding this, it also, of course, as we all know, gives rise to speculation and some may say gambling. For investors looking to enter the copper market, there are a number of options available. Purchasing physical copper. The time to obtain physical copper from pennies has long since passed. But there are still options for investors to own physical copper or copper bullion through bars or collectible coins. While storing these large materials can prove challenging, owning physical copper might be the cheapest option for investors. Stocks. To access copper prices more directly, investors can purchase shares of companies engaged in mining the metal. These stocks demonstrate a strong correlation to spot prices. ETFs. Alternatively, investors have the option of accessing the copper market indirectly by looking at exchange-traded funds focused on the red metal, or on companies that mine that metal. And futures. As mentioned, copper futures are a popular way to hedge risk while getting exposure to the metal. There are a few exchanges where trading copper futures is possible, including the London Metal Exchange. So is copper a good investment opportunity? A predicted 7.5% drop in demand from China has raised concerns about the copper price, and that has hurt the stock valuations of many companies in the copper mining and exploration sector. But as the developing world continues to advance and people migrate to cities, demand from the construction and electronics sectors will expand, and new projects will be required to meet that demand. Investors need to decide if they believe that this new demand is enough to outweigh the projected fall in consumption from China. Some market watchers are incredibly optimistic about the future, predicting the red metal could hit $7 to $10 per pound during the current cycle. In the first quarter of the year, copper prices performed in a downtrend, declining more than 6% to end March at $6,683,000 per ton. The copper price reached its quarterly peak at the beginning of January when it traded at $7,202 a ton, supported by a weaker US dollar and a strong demand outlook from China. Copper's lowest price in quarter one came in March when it fell to $6,499 per ton. Copper prices pulled back as the US dollar rebounded and warehouse inventories surged. On the supply side, last year all eyes were on copper mine disruptions. Supply stoppages at the top two copper mines, BHP Billiton's Escondida and Freeport's McMoran's Grasberg, are estimated to have brought global 2017 copper output down by 5 to 7%. In 2018 there will be several labour negotiations as well, but analysts believe mine supply will grow. Karen Norton of GFMS Thomson Reuters, base metals analyst, said, quote, "Having been more or less static last year, copper mine production is seen growing by 2.5 to 3% this year, which is expected to help facilitate an increase of similar magnitude in refined output." In fact, her organisation forecasts a surplus of 100,000 tonnes this year. On the demand side, all eyes are on China, the world's top consumer, as the main factor driving copper prices. According to Focus Economics, signs of softer activity have emerged in the Asian country. In fact, the Chinese manufacturing PMI fell to an over 1-year low in February. Aside from expected improvements in the United States, the world's second biggest consumer, emerging nations such as Brazil and India will have a greater positive influence. Meanwhile, demand in India is also expected to increase, despite being offset last year due to demonetization measures which affected construction activity. So what's ahead? There are several factors copper-focused investors should keep an eye on. Investors should pay attention to trade war concerns that might spill over and curtail global economic growth. Other geopolitical factors such as the escalation or otherwise of hostilities between Russia, the United States and other Western nations could also impact the market. Other factors to watch are the US dollar and US politics, China's credit and its reform of the financial sector. Quote, "Looking beyond 2018, prices look set to trend upwards on greater demand for infrastructure, electrical vehicles and renewable energy," unquote, a Focus Economics analyst said. Market Watchers poll recently by the firm gave mixed copper price predictions for the second quarter of 2018. Looking ahead to the next few months, they estimate that the average copper price for quarter two will be $6,825 per ton. The most bullish forecast for the quarter comes from Pesco, which is calling for a price of $7,415. Meanwhile, E2 Economia Economia is the most bearish, with a forecast of $5,836. We should compare these figures, however, looking at the last 5 years, where copper stood in 2013 at just over $3.50 per pound, or $8,000 per metric ton, falling to $2 per pound, or $4,500 per metric ton in 2015, and today standing a little over $3 per pound, or $7,135 per metric ton. Our view, obviously with the benefit of hindsight, is that the time to buy was in 2015. However, with supply increasing and current prices resting near to the top of the highest forecasts for the year, we would not ourselves be too keen to invest right now. That said, the demand for copper will undoubtedly rise, save a world economic recession, and it certainly appears that prices at or around $2.50 per pound, or below $6,000 per ton, are very attractive indeed, and certainly would prompt us to speculate in this market. Whether we will get there or not is uncertain, but it's certainly within the past 52 weeks low for the price. We hope you have found this video interesting and informative, and if so, please give it a thumb up and share it on Twitter. Also, kindly visit our website at illuminatisilver.com, and if you haven't already done so, subscribe as a free member for regular email updates and offers. Our Facebook page, which is updated regularly, can be found at facebook.com/illuminatisilver. Disclaimer: Illuminati Silver owners come from a background of banking, international wealth management and economics. Having now retired from these worlds, we are not qualified to give investment advice. Therefore, this and other productions must not be deemed to be giving such advice, and merely represent the personal views of its owners.